All right. Welcome one, welcome all. I am your host, Indigenous Hebrew, and today's discussion is the declassified files that are coming out of Argentina. As you know, America, United States, I'll say United States has declassified a lot of files pertaining to John F. Kennedy, Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. The United States is declassifying a lot of files. Well, here we have today, well, yesterday, I believe it was May, or maybe it was back in June. Back in June, no, back in April. Anyhow, Argentina is declassifying World War II era files pertaining to the bad guys. I don't know if I can say their name outright, but hey, it's all in the news right now. It's going down right now. And I would like for you guys to look at something really quick. Before we get into the declassified files, I want you guys to listen to Representative Jasmine Crockett out of Texas. You can go to her YouTube page or her YouTube account, and it's on Judiciary Gone Wild. That's the name of the title of her video that she's done. I believe it was May 1st. It says a day ago. So over 400,000 views. And this is Miss Jasmine Crockett, Representative Jasmine Crockett speaking. So here we go.
You have to say.
Well, first of all, hello to all the friends of Jasmine Crockett out there. She's doing a fantastic job for everybody. Look, the first two votes have got to be read together. The first one, we said, okay, nobody should be deported from the country without due process. They refused.
Where is due process found?
Due process is found in the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Okay, y'all hear what she said? Or excuse me, hear what her boss said? Her boss said that it's in the Constitution. So somebody is disrupting the Constitution. Let's keep going.
Constitution, y'all.
And what does due process mean? It means like before
due process.
They deprive you of your life, your liberty, or your property, you get to hear what the charges are against
yes.
you. You get to put on your evidence, as
yes.
Jasmine Crockett has done as a lawyer and as a member of Congress. There's got to be some structure to it, so it's fair, right?
Yeah.
There's got to be a neutral fact finder, right? Who decides? All right, that's all we're saying.
And hopefully prevents these mistakes.
So before you get sent out of the country,
right.
there's got to be due process. There's got to be a fair hearing,
right?
And our colleagues refused to vote for that, yes. despite the fact that the Supreme Court just said in a 9-0 decision that there's got to be, and that includes everybody on that Supreme Court. That's pretty incredible that all 9 of them would actually say, yeah, we agree. There's got to be due process.
And the last time I checked, the Constitution, that's supposed to be the highest law that we have in the land.
Of the land.
Supreme law of the land.
Okay. So what's happening, what they're talking about is that they're going to go and make a vote. I believe it was yesterday, May 1st, that they were doing this vote. And what's happening is that Donald Trump and company, the MAGA group, they're using ICE to go and deport American citizens. That's problematic, folks. And we got a general right now trying to go somewhere else and fight an American cause somewhere else while we got American citizens right now being deported in the United States. It don't make sense to me. It shouldn't make sense to you. But let's keep going. So what's happening with Miss Jasmine Crockett? These guys are, they're voting, whatnot, and they're trying to make sure that ICE doesn't have the ability to kick Americans out of their own country. Babies, for example, are getting kicked out of the United States right now. It makes no sense. And it's the government fighting each other. They're fighting themselves. But this is democracy. This is what democracy does. Democracy will have you have one mass group of people fighting each other. They're pretending that they're, on the same team, but they're doing different things. Or they will pretend with you that they're doing the same thing. So the government again, this is Buenos Aires. This article came out April. Okay, yeah, April 25th, 2025. Argentina. Buenos Aires Times. The government to declassify files on them bad guys of World War II who sought refuge in Argentina post World War II. So these documents are coming out by the government, the Argentina government. Now, folks, you got to understand, this is war. This was war. And the German people had to pay reparations. The German people should be upset because they had to pay reparations. They had to pay reparations for the things that the Nazis did back in that time. Here's another one. And another group of people who should be upset is the Argentina people. The people from Argentina should be upset that their government was bringing these Nazis, bringing these Nazis into their country. And there was a revolution that happened. I think I clicked off of the page. There was a revolution that happened during that time. I think it was 10 years later. There was a revolution that happened that they got rid of their president because of all the madness that was going on. But the people of Argentina, they should be upset too for the government bringing these Nazis into their country and them having to go through all this craziness, harboring these people who are basically didn't like anybody. They come in and they do what they want to do. Let me see. This is another one. The Argentine releases huge troves of declassified, them bad guy people, dictatorship documents. Now, if the Nazis were given reparations, because that's what this is reparations. This is reparations, folks. A government giving repairs to a people who were doing bad stuff, giving them the leeway to go into this, this country and hide out from, the powers that be, so to say. The next thing I wanted to say, here we go. After World War II, thousands of Nazis became informants in the Cold War against the Soviets. So this is how the United States used them. They were informants against the Soviet Union. And that's how they got entry into the United States. Now, when they come in here to the United States, it's a detriment to Black people and Native Americans, or you people of color. It's a detriment to us because Black people weren't given reparations, but these Nazis were allowed to come here and do what they wanted to do. I remember there was a story of the Black soldiers had to get off the train. They were at the back of the train. They had to get off the train because the criminal war Nazis were on there. So they had to get off the train for these Nazis. Well, this is the type of stuff that, was a damage to Black people who, as of yet, have not gotten reparations from the government. But the government allows these Nazis to get reparations. They come here and, live among us. And again, here's another, this is from NPR. Here's another one. We'll listen to this real quick.
I'm Terry Gross. Back in the early 70s, New York Congresswoman Elizabeth Holtzman got a confidential tip that American immigration authorities knew of dozens of former Nazis, some implicated in serious war crimes, who were living in America.
Now, that is the Department of Immigration. These guys are your enemies. The Department of Immigration. And on Facebook, I told many of you who follow me on Facebook that every department is going to look bad. They're gonna be less trustworthy. I said that, I believe 2022. I said that in 2022. And it's happening. You're seeing it with your eyes. that every department in the United States is less trustworthy now. They're given immigration status, immigration in the United States. The government turned away thousands of Jewish people, but they allowed these Nazis to come right on in. They turned away Jews during that time, 1942. They turned Jewish people away, but they allowed the Nazis to come in because they were informants for the government. This is one of those the Smithsonian. This is from the Smithsonian. The government turned away thousands of Jewish refugees, but they allowed the Nazis to come in as spies. And Operation Paperclip. If you guys don't know what Operation Paperclip is, that's the operation that allowed Nazi Germans to come in and assist the government with, NASA, with education, with medicine. They allowed these Nazis to come here and teach United States departments the Nazis' way of things. We get Planned Parenthood from Nazis, believe it or not. During the Apollo program. Now get this, folks. During the Apollo program, which landed Americans on the moon 6 times between 1969 and 1972, NASA was filled with both Jewish scientists, y'all see that? Jewish scientists, and a large group of Germans who had worked for Hitler. Does that make sense? And this is not just a Google search. This is Los Angeles Times right here saying the same thing. This is Los Angeles Times. Who got America to the moon? Los Angeles Times. Who got America to the moon? An unlikely collaboration of Jewish and former Nazi scientists sitting together trying to get this rocket to outer space, to the moon. It says right here, Marshall Space Flight Center Director von Braun Leff joins Kennedy Space Center Director Chief Kurt DeBoos, both former Nazis. And this article from the Los Angeles Times came out by Ralph Vardabrain. I believe that's how his name is pronounced. It came out March 1st, 2020. And again, this guy right here is Jewish. This is von Braun right here, the Nazi guy. This guy is Jewish. This is Werner von Braun, Jewish guy, worked for Hitler. The immigration let him come in and work among Americans. And his name is Ibraham Silverstein. This is Abraham Silverstein. So how is it that Jewish people and Nazis are working together here in America, but then elsewhere they're, fighting each other? It really doesn't make sense to me that America could do this. Like the Americans can do this, but then elsewhere that it's just thinking about it just got me right now. Just thinking about it just got me. And I'm not just saying this. Like this is documented in public news. World War II reparations again. Germany paid World War II reparations because of that bad guy military of their time. And it's the people of Germany that had to pay this stuff. And those guys get out and go to different countries and they live a good life somewhere else while the people of Germany had to pay reparations. The people of Germany had to pay. This guy is Juan Perón. He was the president of Argentina at the time, and later to be ousted. Why? Well, maybe it's because of those documents that were classified. It's called the Revolución Libertadora back in 1955. Kicked them out. Why? Again, because probably those classified documents. But we're going to find out soon, right? We're going to find out pretty soon. Now, when we were watching what Miss Jasmine Crockett said about Americans, getting kicked out of the United States, this guy right here, the Orange Trumpet King, the end of DEI, what Trump's executive orders means for Black Americans. And this, you can find this on Capital B. I guess it's a website, Capital B, and it's by Brandon Tinsley. It came out April 24th of this year, 2025. And what he's saying is that Trump is trying to create a colorblind society. That the MAGA and company does not want you Americans and people around the world to know how bad they treated how bad they treated Black Americans. There's nobody on the face of this planet that got police dogs chased after them, that had, fire department water hoses sprayed down on them, that had, their babies as alligator bait and stuff like that. Our communities being redlined. Just the general idea of just, you walking around with your skin color got you into the lowest class of society, worse than animals. And you think that evolution is your friend, they're actually calling your ancestors monkeys. That's how bad it is in the Department of Education. But again, this article here is talking about the Trump and company trying to create a colorblind society when it's hard to understand that reparations here in the United States has not been paid. And again, like I said, that all of the departments of the United States would be less trustworthy. He's trying to gut the Department of Education. And that's where you find all this stuff out. You find all this stuff out in the Department of Education. They tell you how bad the United States was. Let's move on. This is the University of Nebraska. How the Nazis influenced modern medicine. Okay, and I'm not just making this stuff up. This is University of Nebraska Medical Center. This is their published article written by Karen Burbach. I believe that's how her name is pronounced. It came out in September 14th, 2005. And again, the Nazi influence on America. This is Nazi influence on America. They influenced the space shuttles. They influence space. They're influencing your medicine. Calling them Nazi sympathizers. Here's another, the Time magazine article, time.com. How America educated the children of Nazis after World War II. Again, they are given reparations. I'm not against children, but what I am against is that immigration, the Department of Justice, the United States itself is not giving reparations to the people that look my skin tone, my color, but they're giving reparations to their open enemies. They're repairing their enemies, making it good for them and their children. And it's not fair to a Black person who's gone to war for the United States and told to sit at the back of the bus or sit at the back of the train or get off the train entirely so that their open enemies can, get reparations. Again, this is a picture. It says it's a picture of that time, 1947, a photo of Operation Paperclip children in summer school classes destined to help them learn English at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas, courtesy of Jonah Perillo. I believe that's her name. But again, these people are given reparations. These are Nazis. These are the children of Nazis here in this photo. But Nazis were given reparations. This is what's happening, folks. But they won't do this for Black Americans. They won't do this for the descendants of former slaves and slaves. But they openly did this for their enemies. And you can go right now and buy a Nissan Altima. You can go right now and buy a Mercedes Benz. And these are countries and companies that are built. These are items that are built in countries that fought against the United States. They fought against the United States. And the United States offered them national repair. That's what reparations is, giving them national repair. Again, another article from the New York Times. I don't see a date on here. I don't see. Okay, there it is right there. American Colleges and the Nazis, June 22nd, 2009. Again, these guys are able to come and teach in the classrooms. They've been given repair. Immigration allowed them to come in. They've been given repairs, but the Negro hasn't been given repair. And we're coming up on, do police swear an oath to the Constitution? Do they swear an oath to the Constitution? United States police officers. State and local police generally swear an oath to the United States Constitution. I'm reading this so that we can go back to what Jasmine Crockett was talking about, United States citizens getting kicked out of the United States. So do police officers swear an oath to the United States Constitution as civil service or uniformed service officers stating, I, officer name, as their name should be there, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. If you have an enemy that is foreign, and if you have an enemy that is domestic, those are your enemies as a sworn officer. And guess who else gets this swearing in? The military. The military does this same thing. So if there are Americans who are protected people under the Constitution, if Americans are getting kicked out of the United States, what the hell is the military doing? If Americans are getting kicked out of the United States, babies, mind you, if baby Americans are getting kicked out of the United States, what is the military doing? What are police officers doing? Police officers rather kill you without, they rather end your life, if you don't show them your ID. What's the military doing? What's the military doing? Show you what the military doing. The military got this guy, General Michael Langley, chasing down President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. I didn't see any Burkina Fasoans, storm the U.S. Capitol. I didn't see not one person from Burkina Faso storm the U.S. Capitol. Y'all tell me something. But General Michael Langley believes that Burkina Faso is a threat to the United States. While Trump and company got babies getting kicked out of the United States, protected under the U.S. Constitution. It don't make sense to me, and it shouldn't make sense to you. But that's what's happening, folks. Let's listen to what she got to say at the end here.
You here means I gotta go vote, but I just wanted to check in with y'all. I appreciate y'all. We gonna keep fighting. The blue team got your back.
The blue team got your back. Do you guys understand that it's been blue and red fighting each other this whole time? It's been them doing it. It's been democracy. And that's what democracy does. Democracy gets you to fight each other. And I'm not against my young sister here, Jasmine Crockett, but she's sworn to the Constitution, just like General Langley is sworn to the Constitution, and just like everyday police officers are sworn to the Constitution. And these people are having Americans fight each other. And it's sickening. And folks, that's all I have to say. That's the end of my rant. You guys have a really good rest of your day. Indigenous Hebrew Israelite out.